Now on Fox 13 News at 9, breaking news in South Salt Lake of not one, but two officers hurt after an arrest this afternoon. What we're learning from police tonight.
We're tracking scattered storms tonight here as we start the holiday weekend, but tomorrow things become a bit more widespread. The timing of a cold front and what to expect through Memorial Day.
Memorial Day weekend, the unofficial start of boating season here in Utah. I'll have some tips on how to keep you and your family safe and a look at those current water temperatures.
A Farmington fifth grader is getting both state and national recognition for artwork entered into a national poster contest aimed at bringing awareness to missing and exploited children.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9 starts right now.
Suspect is an officer on foot. Officer is concentrating alert. We have a traffic accident here as well. Start South Salt Lake Medical. Network.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kelly Chapman. Bob has the night off. We begin tonight with breaking news in South Salt Lake. Two officers have been injured. They're both in the hospital after arresting a federal fugitive. This incident happened on the 200 block of Helm Avenue. That's near 300 East. Let's get right to Fox 13 News reporter Jenna Bree live on the scene. Jenna, what can you tell us?
That's right, Kelly. Police say while trying to arrest a federal fugitive, two officers were hurt. Officials say it was around 5:40 tonight when an officer was outside of his car on East Helm Avenue and was hit by the fugitive. Then another UPD officer stopped the suspect from fleeing by crashing into the suspect's car with his patrol car. Officer Quinn Wilkins says both officers and the suspect are in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
While attempting to effect an arrest on a federal fugitive, an officer was outside of his patrol vehicle when he was struck by the fugitive in a vehicle. At which point another officer of the Unified Police Department stopped the vehicle from fleeing the scene by using a pursuit intervention technique.
South Salt Lake, Salt Lake City, and West Jordan police departments were all assisting, as well as UPD's Metro Gang Unit. This as it's been almost 3 weeks since Sergeant Bill Hoosier was hit and killed by a suspect while during an attempted arrest. Reporting live in South Salt Lake, Jenna Bree, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Jenna, thank you for the update. Well, here we are Friday night, headed into a holiday weekend, Allison.
I know, and I think a lot of people are maybe looking out the window tonight being like, okay, started off nice today, but what are these clouds doing and are they going to ruin my weekend plans? The answer is tomorrow we'll see some weather impacts, but by Sunday and Monday things are going to be looking a lot better here across the state. 61 for tomorrow are for current conditions in Logan, 63 for Salt Lake, 57 for Price right now, 81 degrees currently in St. George. We'll have temperatures in the 60s for tomorrow here along the Wasatch Front with rain and thunderstorms likely by Sunday. We're back into the 70s by Monday. Sunny and getting hot, temperatures back into the 80s heading into next week. For today, we've had quite a few showers here across the region where we're seeing those right now. Moab, Canyonlands, down towards Capitol Reef. And then here across northern Utah, we've seen the showers even mainly from about Salt Lake, south of the Salt Lake Valley, further south into Utah County. We're going to have this chance for showers and here in the valleys rain. Snow levels about 9,000 feet, and we actually could see quite a bit of snow piling up here over the next couple of days for our northern mountains. We could maybe even see 8 to 10 inches of snow for our highest peaks. So as we look at our precipitation chances, Provo, you're this yellow line. You're looking at numerous to widespread showers midnight through about 3 a.m. and you'll see another peak heading into tomorrow morning from about 8 a.m. through a little after lunch tomorrow. For Salt Lake, we'll follow a similar curve, although we'll see isolated showers overnight, better chances into late morning tomorrow. And then for Cedar City, isolated chances overnight, and then by tomorrow afternoon, widely scattered chances. We'll also have some wind in the forecast for tomorrow, especially across southern Utah. So we'll talk more about what to expect over the next couple of days and for the holiday. Your forecast is coming up.
We have an update tonight on Levi Wright. He's the 3-year-old son of rodeo star Spencer Wright, who right now is fighting for his life after being swept away in a fast-moving creek on Tuesday. Callie Wright, Levi's mother, posted on Facebook that he briefly woke up at Primary Children's Hospital today, but that he was still sedated. She added that while Levi was not fully coherent or talking, he had opened his eyes and wiggled with purpose. After undergoing an MRI late this afternoon, she said the results were, quote, not good, and the family is shattered. Going on to say the best indicator of her son's condition will be how he does over the next few days. Corey Richins' defense attorneys have withdrawn from the case. This means a new team will be stepping in, and the preliminary hearing set in June has been moved. Richins is accused of fatally poisoning her husband and then writing a book about grief. The judge formally dismissed Sky Lazaro and other attorneys today after they claimed there was a, quote, irreconcilable and non-waivable situation. The new team then argued for more time because of the, quote, multiple terabytes of evidence to review. Richins and her new team will next appear in court for a scheduling conference on June 21st. Tomorrow is National Missing Children's Day. President Ronald Reagan first proclaimed it back in 1983. Part of the annual honors for Missing Children's Day is an annual poster contest for fifth graders. Turns out a Utah student won first place for the state and third place in the nation in this contest with this powerful poster. Fox 13 News reporter Chris Arnold spoke with her about it.
Every day whenever I'm bored, I just draw.
Abby Johnson finds joy in drawing.
It's fun and kind of shows my imagination of things.
The fifth grader at Knowlton Elementary School in Farmington has turned that passion into a purpose.
Mom's here crying because she found out.
Abby drew this picture.
The little girl that went missing was still with her, is right next to her, comforting her even though she can't feel it.
Her artwork entered into the annual National Missing Children's Day poster contest.
With a phone, I put it where it says Amber Alert in a crack, the mom looked at it and dropped her phone.
The theme for the 41st year of the contest, bringing our missing children home.
Looks like the little girl drew it, and I made it look, I ripped it between her and her mom, and I made it look like the mom was reaching her arms for her like she wants her back.
A lot of emotionality in that picture and how hard it is as a parent to lose your child.
Jenna Dalkey is Abby's teacher.
You enter things like this and don't think that it will happen to you, but she has the capability to be something special.
Abby's work was recognized by the Utah Attorney General's office, receiving this certificate of appreciation, as well as the top honors in the entire state.
Abby just came home randomly and tells me that she won first place for the state of Utah. Just touched and surprised.
I thought I was gonna get fifth or lower, because I didn't expect that.
I spoke with an official with the United States Department of Justice on Friday, and they confirmed that Abby finished as the second runner-up in the entire nation in this contest for her artwork. I'm told her poster will ultimately be displayed at the DOJ. Abby's mom, Debbie, telling Fox 13 News she feels this contest is special.
The love parents have for children and just wanting to make sure that our kids are safe, and I love that because I feel like Abby's picture touches on that, and I feel like that's why I was touched by it.
As for what Abby hopes people get from seeing her poster,
I hope that people realize that if your child's gone or missing, doesn't mean they're actually gone. They're always still with you in your heart.
In Farmington, Chris Arnold, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Powerful art there. A pretty proud moment for twin brothers graduating from Olympus High School today, but what they're about to embark on is not only impressive but honorable. The academy they will be attending together. Plus, reminders for keeping you and your family safe on the water this Memorial Day weekend.
And the top high school basketball recruit in the country coming here to Utah, but to what school?
Graduation ceremonies have been happening all around the state this week, a time to celebrate accomplishments and prepare for the next big steps in a young adult's life. Today at the commencement for Olympus High School, two brothers, Will and Colin, they crossed the stage, bound not only by family, but an elite group of brotherhood they are entering into. Both of the boys appointed to the Naval Academy. As high school comes to a close for twin brothers Colin and Will de la Garza,
it's been a long 4 years for sure.
Walking across the stage at their Olympus High School commencement ceremony is certainly not the end of a book.
Edward de la Garza.
Rather, the start of a new chapter together.
I am very excited that both of us are going, and I think it's a really unique.
Both boys have about a month now before they head east to the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland.
It's always been something I've thought of, is serving my country. Like, same with Will, we've always thought about it.
The twins, academically inclined. Will, a talented swimmer, recruited to the academy as a D1 athlete, while his brother Colin, doing his own research on the Naval Academy, traveling to take a campus tour, which sealed the deal.
I learned it's where I could thrive and where I could be and learn to be my best self, while also getting a phenomenal education.
And while both boys getting into the academy is considered rare,
The number of kids from Utah that get to go to the Naval Academy is not a big number. So it came as quite a shock when they actually both got in.
their parents say their dedication, passion, and drive has set them up for success and the pursuit to help themselves while helping others.
We're incredibly proud. I think they both have a good grasp on what they're signing up for.
The Navy will pay 100% of Will and Colin's tuition, room and board, along with medical expenses, in return for 5 years of active duty service upon graduating.
For two young men to say, that's okay with me, I'm gonna go and do this, because not only is it a great experience for me and an excellent opportunity for me, but I'm going to go do this for my country and for the people who live here. And I think that's just so honorable and courageous.
And through it all, they'll have each other. From high school graduation to the future Navy commissioning ceremony, Will and Colin de la Garza are on board to take on their next opportunities.
I think that Colin and I are very committed to what we want to do, and I think having both of us there, we're very competitive with each other, so I'm sure that'll help a bunch.
And great boys there. I do want to mention it's one thing to be accepted for admission into the prestigious Naval Academy, but you must also earn the merits of an appointment by a member of U.S. Congress or a state senator. Colin received his recommendation from Senator Romney and Representative Malloy. Will also receiving a recommendation from Representative Celeste Malloy. And we wish them both all the best.
I'm meteorologist Allison Krogan with Utah's Weather Authority. I'll have your full forecast in just a moment, but first we want to help you get ready as you can be for the holiday weekend ahead of any outdoor activities that you have planned. Meteorologist Chris Nunley explains how to prepare for your recreation plans this weekend and throughout the summer.
Memorial Day weekend is the unofficial start of the boating season here in Utah, and many Utahns plan on getting out on the water over the next 3 days. And the weather is looking nice with seasonably mild temperatures across northern Utah and warmer temperatures farther south near the Arizona state line. But it's important to remember while the air temperatures are responding to the late spring season, it takes the water temperature a lot longer to respond to those warmer air temperatures.
The water temperatures are still very cold. Right now, Bear Lake is sitting around 51 degrees. But as you go further into southern Utah, the lakes start warming up. Lake Powell is in the mid 60s. So generally, water temperatures in the 50 to 60 degree range.
The water temperatures are especially cold this time of the year due to the continued runoff from the snowmelt and another above normal snow year. This is great news for the local reservoirs, which have achieved healthy status and statewide risen to 91% of capacity. But it does raise some concerns for those recreating on the water this holiday weekend.
For anybody that is going to be out on the reservoirs, you're going to want to just make sure that you're being cautious and cognizant of your proximity to the dams, especially for those reservoirs that are releasing water right now. There is probably some debris and some muddy water in some of these reservoirs, as we do have a lot of the tributaries running high, fast, and cold into them.
The majority of the state's reservoirs are near full capacity, but Lake Powell is still running low, so keep this in mind if you plan on launching a boat down south.
That if you're taking your boat down to Lake Powell, there's lots of places to put in your boat. However, the water may not be high enough for some of these boat ramps. So you're going to want to check before going down to Lake Powell which boat ramp you're planning on using, just to make sure that it's open.
If you encounter a closed boat ramp on Lake Powell, there are plenty that are open, so it should be easy to find an alternate ramp for lake access.
It is important if you plan on recreating on the water over the holiday weekend that you follow all the local laws. You want to make sure that you're aware of your surroundings and always wear a proper fitting life vest, you and everybody on your boat. On the Great Salt Lake, meteorologist Chris Nunley, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, temperatures over the next couple of days will be somewhat cool tomorrow and then warming up Sunday. That's kind of a transition day, and by Monday and into next week, things are going to be really hot here across the state. As we look at our current conditions for our national weather, Phoenix right now 92 degrees, 63 for Salt Lake. As we look across the country, East Coast, low 70s for New York and Boston right now, 82 currently in Miami. As we look at travel hazards tomorrow here across the state, we're going to have some slick roads, especially early in the day tomorrow. And then we'll see our chance for precipitation decreasing throughout your Saturday evening. By Sunday morning, we're tracking potentially some strong storms again into the plains and Midwest. As we look at Monday, this is the holiday, 8 a.m. morning travel, no problems on Memorial Day here in Utah. But for tomorrow, as we look at our flash flooding potential, speaking of recreating, Arches, Bryce Canyon, Canyonlands, Capitol Reef, Grand Staircase, Escalante East, Natural Bridges, and the San Rafael Swell all have a flash flooding potential if possible for tomorrow. And what that means is some slot canyons, dry washes, and small streams may experience flash flooding. And just a refresher, as we're going to be eventually heading into monsoon season in the next month or so, we're going to end up with, wanting to remind people about safety when you're getting into slot canyons or areas that are prone to those flash flooding concerns. It doesn't have to be raining where you are. If it's raining upstream, that's what makes this so difficult and dangerous, is if it's just upstream there's a storm, you can still have those impacts. So all things to consider as we're planning our summer travel, especially getting into monsoon season, which is typically late June into July and August. As we look at the Wasatch Front for the rest of tonight, some scattered showers increasing tomorrow morning, likely peaking midday and then tapering off in the evening. Snow levels will be about 9,000 feet, and that's where we could see 8+ inches of snow for our very highest terrain. And temperatures for right now as you get ready for bed, we're still pretty mild out there. Low 60s for Salt Lake and Ogden. This is basically warmer than we're going to be for most of tomorrow. And for tonight, we're still tracking some showers. We're getting a lot of moisture that we're pulling in from the southwest. We're going to have a front moving in from the north tomorrow. And where we're currently seeing a line of moderate showers right now, ranging from about Beaver all the way up through Spanish Fork. And then into the Salt Lake Valley, it's been quite cloudy this evening. We've also had some rain coming down. So over the next couple of hours in Salt Lake, we'll spend most of our evening into the 50s. We'll have the chance for showers, especially getting into mid-morning, late morning tomorrow. Chance for some thunderstorms midday, and then the rain and thunderstorms will be likely for tomorrow. For St. George, your temperature is mid-60s when you wake up, into the 80s for tomorrow. So it's going to be a mild to cool day, a pretty soggy Saturday, and then we're clearing out. St. George, 83 tomorrow, mostly sunny. Sunday, 90, 95 for the holiday. For Salt Lake, we're in the 70s for Sunday. 80s for Memorial Day on Monday, with a lot more sunshine the second half of the weekend for northern and central Utah. We'll talk more about our storm chances over the next couple of days coming up later in the hour. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everyone. Now to an update on Deer Creek Reservoir, as water samples have come back from the Department of Environmental Quality as non-detect for contaminants, meaning there's no concern for drinking water. This comes after a semi-truck carrying propane crashed into the reservoir Monday night while traveling southbound on State Route 189. The driver of the truck, 62-year-old Richard Bowman from Torrey, died in the accident. The exact cause of the crash remains under investigation. A major perk for working at a university is cheaper tuition for you and your family, but New policy changes at the University of Utah are changing some of those benefits. As Fox 13 News reporter Brian Champagne explains, one worker's family will now be taking a big budget hit come this fall.
This is called cucumber mask.
Yvonne Bass is making a fake burn wound.
I help behind the scenes in creating medical simulations.
The U's medical students will learn from what she sets up.
I love where I work. I love being a part of the team that I'm a part of and making a difference in the medical field.
Part of the reason she took the job was so her husband could get a break on grad school.
I was fully confident that I was able to pay not just for half tuition, but just half cost.
But before he got started this fall, the University of Utah cut back that benefit.
We still get half tuition. So we still get half of that $4,000, $5,000. But the differential and the program fees are up to twice as much as the tuition can be.
Here at Utah's Human Resources, they say there are 4 categories of tuition reimbursement for undergrads, grads, differential, and regular tuition. Of those 4, only one is being affected, Bass's husband's.
We're still providing a 50% benefit for undergrads in everything and a 50% for regular graduate tuition. The only one that's changing is the graduate differential tuition, and that's not even in all colleges and degrees.
They say their change started with a policy change at the Utah system of higher education.
We reacted to a USHE policy, but certainly took the opportunity as an institution to make sure we were aligning our benefit with our peer institutions that we compare to.
Current students are grandfathered in, but since Bass's husband missed that, she wants the U to reconsider the new policies.
They were made by people, and we are people. This policy is affecting people, so these people can help the other people. We're just people who need help. These words on a page are preventing that.
Brian Champagne.
I believe that those can be changed.
Fox 13 News, Utah.
When seconds can make the difference between life and death, a language barrier can be life-threatening. How 911 dispatchers handle language differences. Next.
And more trophies raised for the Preps as spring sports soon comes to a close. Softball and boys lacrosse tonight.
In 1968, 911 became synonymous with getting help as quickly as possible. But what happens when dispatchers and callers don't understand each other, especially when seconds matter? Fox 13 News digital reporter Shanti Lerner goes in-depth on the disparities between support for English and Spanish speakers in Utah.
Hello, Spanish. Hello, Spanish.
When you call 911, you trust someone will answer and be ready to help. But what happens when you and the call taker don't speak the same language?
On February 13, a man called 911 to report an attempted child kidnapping in South Salt Lake. We learned the man only spoke Spanish.
911, what's the city and address of your emergency?
Fox 13 submitted an open records request for the call. Because the man only spoke Spanish, the Salt Lake Valley Emergency Communications Center, or VEC, had to connect to a translation system. Watch the clock at the top of the screen. It takes the dispatcher at least 30 seconds to get the caller connected.
Please, you selected Spanish. You will be connected to the next available interpreter. So that your interpreter may better assist you, please speak in short, clear statements.
Hello, my name is Mariana. I will be your Spanish interpreter for 03187. Please go ahead.
According to the caller, he was following the kidnapping suspect, trying to help police catch him. Police were able to make an arrest because he gave a license plate, but the call lasted nearly 7 minutes, and they often talked over each other.
When individuals are calling 911, often they don't have that time, and a minute, 2 minutes can mean life or death in this situation.
In a 2022 report, the ACLU of Utah analyzed the policies of Utah law enforcement agencies that interact with those with limited English proficiency.
I wanted to see if this could be a wider problem within the non-English speaking community of Salt Lake.
Karin está con ustedes en estos momentos de 3 a 7 p.m.
So I'm at 107.1 La Raid in downtown Salt Lake City.
Estamos acompañándoles a través de la ley.
DJ Correa asked people on air about their experience with 911 when there's a language barrier. The caller says because of the language difference, she waited a longer time than she was told. You are looking at the Salt Lake Valley Emergency Communication Center, or VEC.
Where we take about 500,000 emergency calls every single year and just over 1 million total calls. We're actually the largest 911 dispatch center in Utah.
VEC is one of 2 primary public safety answering points for Salt Lake County, the other being Central Utah 911. So how does it work when you call 911? For English.
My name is Robin Garrett, and I am a 911 call taker.
What is that like when you hear another language that you don't understand on the phone? Is it stressful for you?
A little tense and just trying to get to what the caller is needing. So first you have to figure out what language they're needing, and then get the language person on the line, and so there's a time delay there.
To detect a specific language, there's a system in place at VEC.
We're easily able to press the button and conference in language line and get an interpreter on the line.
VEC contracts with an off-site company called Cyricom International. Interpreters can be located anywhere in the country or world, but that process of translating isn't always instantaneous. There are several protocols to follow. At the agency, there are 120 dispatchers, roughly 13% of which are bilingual. Being bilingual in Spanish and English is not a requirement at VEC, and applicants are also not incentivized if they do speak a second language. But why is that when, according to the Utah Department of Health and Human Services, Spanish is the second most spoken language in the state?
Spanish was their most used interpretation service, and with that, in 2020, they used approximately 84,000 minutes.
Jimenez Flores claims there is a lack of funding for law enforcement agencies and dispatch centers to have bilingual personnel or interpreters on staff.
At the end of the day, they're choosing to save money over potentially saving lives.
VEC says they are promoting the career path to local schools.
As you can see, this is an excellent career for them and an entryway. So I want to work with the counselors at the high school to be able to introduce this as a career, therefore having more diversity as well.
DJ Correa says maybe the lack of multilingual 911 dispatchers is a sign that VEC and other centers aren't targeting the right demographics.
Sí hay mucha gente capacitada que habla los 2 idiomas, que habla el inglés y que habla el español y que podría trabajar para ellos, pero su mensaje no les está llegando, tal vez porque la información las están poniendo en lugares donde nosotros desconocemos que está.
A minute can, mean the end of someone's life, and even when the stakes aren't as high, people deserve equal access to all of the services that are available.
Shanti Lerner, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Utah Attorney General Sean Reyes is joining a group of states opposing Mexico in its legal battle against American gun manufacturers. The lawsuit seeks to hold the companies liable for some of the gun violence in Mexico. Reyes joined 27 other states in asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn a ruling on that. He argues it could hurt Second Amendment rights. A judge has once again rejected an effort to challenge Utah's death penalty laws. 5 death row inmates are suing Utah, challenging our methods of execution. Now, a judge previously dismissed their lawsuit. They tried to revive it, and today the judge rejected it again. Ralph Leroy Menzies and Tabaron Honey are both closer to execution. Their appeals are exhausted, and the state is asking for a death warrant to be signed. Menzies is currently being evaluated to see if he has dementia, and that could halt his execution. Honey sought to use this lawsuit to block his death warrant. The judge rejected that as moot. We're already seeing political ads dominate the airwaves, and it's only going to ramp up as we get closer to the general election in November. Coming up, we ask an expert why we're seeing such an uptick for the upcoming GOP primary.
And temperatures today were pretty close to normal. Then we had all the clouds move in, and we're going to have a soggy start to the holiday weekend. I'll let you know when the rain will clear out. We'll be right back.
Republican candidates for political office are blanketing the airwaves.
This is more than we have seen in previous cycles.
I'm Ben Winslow on Utah's Capitol Hill. We're seeing an unprecedented level of advertising for the upcoming Utah GOP primary.
There is too much at stake.
Brought tears to my eyes.
I love this state.
The ads are everywhere.
We would optimize, minimize, privatize.
I approve this message and more hiking.
For those people who are looking at TV and they say, how am I getting this many ads? The answer is, this is more than we've ever had before because we have more candidates than we've ever had before. This is the current state of politics in the state of Utah.
As your congressman, I will leverage my experience in the
Republican candidates are ramping up their advertising as we get closer to the June primary.
That's Derek Brown.
There's several reasons why. Jason Perry, who leads the University of Utah's Hinckley Institute of Politics, says with our Republican majority state,
for many of these elections and these races, this is the general election. So they're looking at these, historically and say, if I take this particular spot, if I'm the winner at the primary, they're going to take this race. So you spend the money now.
It's not just on TV. Voters will get mailers and see billboards.
When you have some races like CD3 that have 5 candidates, how do you carve out space on the political spectrum? You start really tailoring your commercials to a certain segment of the Republican Party.
Okay, maybe we won't agree on that.
And it creates a feeding frenzy. Political action committees will also start to weigh in as we get closer to the primary.
What's happening right now is people are getting their commercials out. They're raising some money. Ballots come out in about 2 weeks. So they're trying to really hit the right moment of time. But as one commercial comes out, the opponents all say, I can't believe they got a commercial out already. I've got to get my commercial out right now as well.
It's worth pointing out the Republican primary is a closed one. That means you have to be a registered Republican in order to vote in it. Ballots again go out in a couple of weeks. The primary election is June 25th. On the Hill, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
One of the candidates for U.S. Senate is talking about the southern border today. Brad Wilson met with county sheriffs and state lawmakers to talk about his policy ideas. Wilson is very critical of the Biden administration's handling of the border. He says close it. He also supports the Remain in Mexico policy for asylum seekers. Still, though, Wilson says he's not anti-immigration.
Both this country and the state of Utah's rich history is because of immigrants. But we've done it in the past in a more methodical, systemic, and responsible way. And we didn't just open up the borders over the last 50 to 100 years. We've had a more rigorous process. That's all we're asking to have done again.
Wilson is among 4 Republican candidates headed to the June primary election. Coming up, a bill signed by the president is a boost for Utah's uranium industry. Why the Navajo Nation is wary of the resurgence.
And later in sports, the nation's top hoops recruit chooses a high school here in Utah, but which one? And a loaded day of trophy raising, state champs crowned for both softball and boys lacrosse. Back in a bit.
A bill signed by the president is a boost for Utah's uranium industry, even while the Navajo Nation asks that shipments of the ore stop. I'm Fox 13 investigative reporter Nate Carlisle. We've been tracking the resurgence of uranium in Utah. This month, Congress and the White House sped up the turbine, if only a little.
Mr. President, I rise today to talk about a great win for the American people and for America's energy future.
This month, President Biden signed the Prohibiting Russian Uranium Imports Act.
So for Utah, we think that this will probably provide a little bit of uplift in uranium prices.
Curtis Moore is the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Corporate Development for Energy Fuels. It mines uranium near LaSalle and operates a uranium mill next to White Mesa, both in southeast Utah.
So it is possible that there could be a greater economic incentive to mine uranium in Utah.
The U.S. has been importing about 1/3 of its nuclear fuel from Russia. The act phases out and bans Russian uranium imports by 2028. It's all seen as another sanction against Russia for the war in Ukraine.
And I want to start by saying something that I know Vladimir Putin is going to hate to hear. That's that Russia's chokehold on America's uranium supply is coming to an end.
Yeah, I think a few more jobs is certainly possible.
But just days before President Biden signed the bill, The president of the Navajo Nation signed a resolution asking that uranium no longer be shipped across Navajo tribal lands.
We are elevating it to President Biden himself to make sure that all federal resources are deployed in order to find different fixes to respect tribal sovereignty so that we can enforce our own laws on the nation, but also prevent harmful risk of radiation exposure through the transportation of uranium mining on the Navajo Nation.
Research has shown uranium mining and milling has left behind polluted sites and sick miners on the Navajo Nation.
Look, while we certainly respect President Nygren, we shipped about 300,000 tons of uranium ore across the Navajo Nation using many of these same roads between about 2007 and 2015, and so the relatively recent past, with no incidents.
We searched a database of hazardous material accidents. We could find no record of a shipment spilling on the Navajo Nation or anywhere in Utah, Arizona, or New Mexico this century. In the studio, Nate Carlisle, Fox 13 News, Utah.
All right, don't hate me. Let's talk about this chance for rain for tomorrow, and then I promise you the second half of the weekend is going to look a lot nicer. So tomorrow for our valley precipitation chances here in the Salt Lake Valley, we're going to see our highest chances early to midday tomorrow, and then we're going to see less and less of a chance as the day goes on. So as we talk about futurecasts, we're pulling in a ton of moisture from the southwest, coinciding with a front that's going to move in from the north. And that is going to bring us that possibility of some widespread showers and thunderstorms, mainly near I-70 and further north for tomorrow. Snow levels will be about 9,000 feet. And then we're going to be drier heading into Sunday and also Monday. And we could maybe see some lingering isolated showers here or there later in the weekend, but the bulk of our precipitation will be coming down tomorrow morning into tomorrow midday, mid-afternoon. And then that's going to be clearing out. So tomorrow at 7 a.m., we're looking at temperatures in the 40s and 50s here across the state. We'll see our temps rising tomorrow, really only to about 55 to 65 degrees here across the state. And then we're going to be drying out and we're going to be warming up Sunday and Monday. And then the heat is really on into the middle of next week. So for Ogden, likely precipitation for tomorrow. For Provo, same thing. By Saturday night, we're looking at isolated chances. And then we could maybe see some low isolated chances next Tuesday and Thursday, but nothing that's looking too significant or organized at this point. And then for St. George, you've got a dry and a very hot 7-day forecast. And then looking into Torrey for tomorrow, we're looking at some widely scattered showers by Saturday night, isolated chances for showers. So how much precipitation are we talking about here in the Salt Lake Valley? Mainly about a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch. That's what the different forecast models are saying for tonight through tomorrow night. So we're going to be looking at through the weekend, but the bulk of this will be arriving between now and tomorrow night. And as we look at our precipitation forecast across the state over the next 48 hours, most of this will be about blanding over to Bryce Canyon further north. Areas of green, less than 1/2 inch, and then areas of blue, that's about 1/2 inch or more. And that's where we could see our highest amounts, mainly for the mountains for the next couple of days. Snow levels around 9,000 feet. So if you're planning on doing any hiking tomorrow, things could get very muddy or snowy depending on where you are. For St. George, 83 for tomorrow, 90 on Sunday, 95 on Monday for the holiday, and then you'll stay in the 90s through the rest of next week. So we've got a hot work week next week. For the Wasatch Front, 66 tomorrow for a high. Showers, thunderstorms likely. By Sunday, the sun comes back. We're in the low 70s. By Monday, Memorial Day, sunny and 80 degrees. So any events that you have on Monday, still looking really good as far as the weather goes. By Tuesday, 86, 85 next Wednesday. And then we'll drop into the 70s next Thursday and Friday. So we've got a rather warm 7-day forecast once we get past tomorrow's cool, somewhat soggy day.
Could the T-Wolves respond after letting Game 1 slip at home? Western Conference Finals against the Mavs. Rudy Gobert mopping up to lift Minnesota up 17 first half, but Dallas may be destined, rallying back, including down 5 over the final 65 seconds. Kyrie Irving followed by Luka Doncic over top Rudy. 109-108, the Mavs stealing both games in Minneapolis. Following the sale of RSL to Dave Blitzer and Ryan Smith back in 2020, the RSL Academy has since changed both name and location, now called the Utah Prep Academy, and moving from Harriman to Hurricane for the upcoming season. The independent school made quite the splash Friday by bringing in the nation's top boys basketball prospect for the class of 2025. A.J. Dabansa has prepped at schools in both Massachusetts and California before electing to move to Utah Prep for his final season. At 6'9", Dabansa has received a slew of blue chip offers, including from former BYU coach Mark Pope at Kentucky. Utah has offered him as well. He averaged 23 points a game last season for prolific prep out of the Bay Area. Second to last day for high school athletics here in the Beehive, including softball, where both of the favorites dropped game ones on Thursday to begin their best of three. Start with 6A Riverton needing to win twice Friday to survive Bingham, and thanks to 4 runs in the fourth and a half dozen in the fifth, it ended up being a mercy rule rout in game 2. Cameron O'Farrell on the RBI, followed by Peyton Sanchez. The Silverwolves going from 1 run in game 1 to 16 in game 2 to bring on the nightcap. The Miners took it all last season. Riverton 2 years before that, a scoreless game through 4, no more. 5-run fifth for the Wolves. O'Farrell bloops in the first one, a 3-run jack mixed in there as well. Brayley Shields sniffs out some pine in Provo. Bingham answered with 3 bottom half. Brooklyn Fogg up the gut. Riverton, though, had a bunch more in mind as they roll on to the title 12-3. At 5A, Springville stole game 1 from 3-time defending champs Spanish Fork. The Dons, though, up 5-3 in game 2 after the Jayada Carter rip. The Lady Devils did make it close, only to fall 6-5. Fly out to end it. Spanish riding 2 different three-peats since 2015, but another win would make it a 4-peat this time. Small ball leading to a run. Emery Pintar ahead of the tag. The Dons riding 8 unanswered runs through 4 frames. Leah Higginson knocking in Bailey Smith. How about Olivia Carroll adding to it? The sac fly to center. The Spanish Fork dominance has been something to behold over the years. 7 crowns just since 2016, and they're 10th overall.
We had to lose. We knew we had to lose sometime, and we wanted to win that game so we could come back today and do double dip. I'm so proud of this team. So proud of this team. Oh my gosh, I started this.
First day of state championship baseball, Lehigh all over Corner Canyon, while Maple Mountain edged out Brighton. Games 2 and potentially 3 tomorrow. Turn boys lacrosse, Corner Canyon winners of the only 3 previous 6A titles since the sport became sanctioned back in 2020. But Davis was playing for the upset, tied at 11 in double overtime when Ashton Wood's pass picked by William Perry, which would quickly lead to the game winner by the Chargers. He just graduated from junior high, the freshman Campton Dutton playing hero. There it is, 12-11 the final to deny a Dart rally where they outscored Corner 4-0 in the fourth, but in the end the trophy stays in Draper.
Never thought any of this would have happened. Just stuck my instinct and went down and shot the ball and scored.
They counted us out to start the year. They said 3 was it and we were done. Well, we told them we make our own destiny.
Brighton defeated Park City to take 5A, while Judge Memorial got it done on the 4A side. The Bulldogs facing Skyview, where they jumped up early and rode a 9-2 halftime score on their way to a 13-8 dub, all part of a 17-3 season.
It's just been an amazing ride, and it happened a lot sooner than I thought. We're not supposed to be here, but we're here, and Judge is back on the map.
We'll be right back.
You guys ready for the holiday?
Oh, yeah.
Just ready for a weekend. I don't care which one it is.
Let's do that.
Yeah. I hope you have a wonderful, safe weekend, everyone. Thank you for watching Fox 13 News at 9. Quick Cast is up next.